All right, can you all see that?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Okay, so basically what I do is online marketing with a company that I started 4 years ago called The Social
Yeah.
Dynamic. Um, the basically what we do is social media marketing, website design, online strategy, and so forth. So basically, as you know, the first impression that a lot of people get of you is on your online profiles. So people, when people hear about you, generally the first thing they would do is search on Facebook or Instagram for you, and that's unfortunately just the way it is. And in this time that we're living in at the moment, we're in a unique position where we're able to actually craft our persona before anyone actually gets to meet us. A general face-to-face meeting is usually instant, and you can pick up on body language and all that kind of thing. And where social media and online presence is different, is that you are able to put a uh, a version of yourself or your business forward that is in a strategic and thoughtful way. So in today's session, we will be covering the following. So the most important thing to do if you are on as an online presence is to understand who you are targeting and who your audience is. So that'll you'll see me come back to that quite a few times, because if you don't understand who it is that you're trying to target, your whole persona makes no sense at all. So then from there, you will figure out what social media platforms work for you or for your brand. Now, I'm going to say a lot of things that'll say either you or your brand, but overall, it's an overarching theme. So it's pretty much the same thing. Um, this type of the what I'm going to speak about is basically regarding you as either a business, as an individual, or even as just a service or a brand or something that you are offering, such as poetry or writing, etc. Okay, so then that takes us to the next point, which is creating effective content. The most important thing you can think about is your content. If you have bad content, people will just gloss over everything that you're doing. So it's important to optimize your content and to have things that attract your followers. And then I'm going to be briefly explaining how to target on Facebook and how to use paid advertising on Facebook. Then I'm going to go into the importance of having supplementary platforms such as a website. So I'm going to use a case study as to explain what could be important, what could work as a website idea, or whether you need it to have extra content, or whether you're going to use only socials. Then brand alignment, that'll be self-explanatory as I go forward. It's basically about aligning yourself with things that make sense to your brand being yourself or your business. Follower engagement, again, self-explanatory, engaging with followers and people that's your potential clientele or your potential consumers. And then I think we will have time to go through any questions and answers. So I'm going to go through everything first. I have a tendency to mumble, so if you don't understand what I'm saying at any point, please just let me know, and then I will attempt to enunciate. Okay, so before we start, this is just an overview of who I am. I am the embodiment of Kanye West's first album, The College Dropout. I've studied 1, 2, 3 different things, and I've dropped out of all of them. So I matriculated from Pinelands High in 2006. In 2007, I took a gap year, like the privileged kid that I am. And after that, during my gap year, I taught in underprivileged schools. I taught financial literacy through an organization called Operation Hope. So that made me want to get into education. Once I got to CPUT and I started studying education, I realized that this is horrible, and I generally don't enjoy things that I get bored by. So after that, I luckily got a job as a legal assistant, which I really enjoyed. And there I learned how to draft, how to do legal research. And after that, I was approached to be a paralegal for two advocates where I did drafting legal research for their cases. During that time, I started studying law. I was like, F this, don't like it. Then in 2016, my friend Michelle and I decided that we're going to start the company. We both were sick of our jobs at the time, and we both had a background, me with public relations and her with marketing. So at that time, social media marketing was quite new, and we thought, okay, this is a great opportunity to get into it. Word to wise though, don't start a company after you resign from your job. It's not a good idea. The first 2 years are terrible, but it worked out now. And then from when I was a kid, I started doing ads and modeling campaigns, etc. So from then until 2000 until now, I've been with the same casting agency, Perch Artists, and so I've been in a few ads and campaigns since then. And I think it's important to note that I'm a Manchester United supporter. I have been since '96, and I will be until my death. Doesn't matter how badly we're doing at the moment. And please don't at me with any Liverpool comments. Right, so if we could just take a few minutes to so can everyone just go through the can I just go through the room and ask everyone your name and what you expect to get out of this session? So very briefly, just for time, I think I've got everybody here. So I think I'll start with Stacy. Mike.
So I'm here today. Oh, my name's Stacy, and I'm the founder of Skills Exchange. I'm here today to learn more about like establishing Skills Exchange and the benefits of having an online presence, especially with social media and a website, and also like how to direct your maybe your followers to your website and the benefits of having a website versus the benefits of having a presence on social media. And then obviously and targeting on Facebook because of our events. And yeah, that's it. Okay.
Thanks, Stacey. Aretha?
Hi everyone, I'm Aretha. I joined today not with any expectations, but I would like to just learn more about what it means to have an online presence and the benefits thereof. Yeah.
Thanks, Aretha. Rivka?
Hi guys, my name is Vifka. What I would like to know is what are the key elements you have to consider when establishing your online presence?
Thanks, Rivka. Connect dots, I'm assuming that's Inga.
Yes, it's me. Hi, everyone. I'm Inga, and I'm really just wanting to understand more around everything for digital branding because it seems so simple when you come across a cool curated site, but when you try to do it, you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm yet to understand what I should be doing.
Thanks, Inga. Thalia?
Hello, I'm Thalia, and I am interested in you. You touched on it when you did your introduction about creating effective content to target your specific target audience or your customers. So that's an area that I am very interested in for my business. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Thalia. Joanne?
Hi, everybody. I'm Joanne. Like Aretha, I also didn't come with any expectations, but I've worked in the marketing space for the last 3 years. And also just keen to see what it all entails, and looking forward to grow my knowledge in terms of what digital is and how it all fits together. Cool. Thanks.
Thanks, Jan. Beth?
Hi, everyone. I personally, I think I have a good understanding now that much of what we see that we think just happens simply, there's a lot of what is in those things beneath, that somebody's being very excellent about many small things. And that there's method to that madness. And that's actually what makes a good brand. And so for personal business projects that are kind of long-term and just for my personal brand, I know that with intentionality in certain areas, I think across the board for everyone, I think you're 100% correct, whether you're in business, whatever it is, that these are vital tools, especially if we are living in a world where the dinosaurs might come over the mountain in any minute. And so we just have to get used to having a very strong online presence. So much of just what you've outlined, I have an interest in every one of those areas, just as a good resource to have, but also for what I'm personally building for, you know, like I said, for a personal business project. So I'm excited about this.
Cool. Thanks very much, Beth. Adelina?
Thanks so much. So I'm Adelina, and I am actually in the education space. I'm a lecturer in communication and media studies. So I heard that part where you said you just don't like education. So with me, I'm always tapping into different workshops and training and listening to people who are, you know, coming up in this space, especially the digital space, because that's where we are going. And in fact, if that's where we are, COVID has kind of like forced us to be, you know, remote, you know, it has taught us to go more in terms of remote learning and teaching. Also, you know, our practices are mostly now online. So I think it's important to just hear from as many people as you can, grow, learn, relearn, and also do some reflection, because some of us think that we know what we're doing, but we never really know until somebody holds up a mirror. So I'm really excited to hear what you have to say. You sound like you are very dynamic. So I look forward to engaging with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I think the last one is Krishel. Nope. All right. Well, we'll move on. Welcome to you all, and thank you for all those words. I hope that you get what you need from this, and I think this is a very holistic look at what online marketing is. So I think feel free to contact me after should you need any more explanation, or if you want to go into further depth with it. Right. So let's start with understanding your audience. So if whatever you're doing, regardless of what your product is, you are trying to sell something, whether you're trying to sell yourself, whether you're trying to sell your work, or even just a tangible product, right? Within that, you have to understand who you are targeting and who you want to sell to. It's important because when you understand who you want to target, you start understanding what they want to see and what they want to consume, whether that be the product itself or whether that just be what they get online from you as a brand or as an account, right? And then you need to separate yourself from everybody else. So you need to know that what you bring to the table is better than the next person. If not better, then more cost effective. If not more cost effective, then brings more value. So there's always quips about certain brands that you will remember, and that's kind of what sets them apart. Generally, even if it's not less expensive, monetary wise, you will find that people are loyal to certain brands just because of something they saw on a Instagram post or on even on a tweet. So if you look at the recent rollout with Chicken Licken, and they made their ads hilarious, and I think that just stuck in people's head. So if people are thinking about hot wings, they're not thinking about KFC at the moment. They're thinking about Chicken Licken because that's top of mind, and they had that quirkiness about them. All right. I think also what's important is understanding your audience is knowing that you can't sell to everybody, and you need to tailor your content specifically for what you are doing. And that brings you to choosing what type of platforms you're going to use, right? So if you need to also know what your strengths are in terms of what your product would be. So if you try to sell books, for example, generally pictures of text won't get a lot of exposure and a lot of eyes on it. Whereas if you use images and use text with that, you're able to to target a bigger audience, and also specifically who you're trying to target. And then so with choosing social media platforms, each platform has its own strengths and weaknesses. So obviously we know that Instagram is the more visual and engaging type of social media, where you're scrolling through your feed, you are attracted by colors, lighting, and then only afterwards you will maybe check the caption, right? So when you go on Facebook, on the other hand, a lot of it is more text driven, but at the same time, the images bring people into what you are trying to sell or trying to get to people. And then when it comes to dialogue, Twitter is one of those where it's instant messaging, and it's more engaging than all the other platforms. But with Twitter, it's more text driven and not as visually driven as the other two. Okay. So for creating effective content can go one of two ways, right? You are either trying to get your message out to a lot of people, or you're trying to be very specific with it. So effective could be reaching two people that actually make sense to your brand, and at the same time, effective could also mean reaching more and more people so that they can learn about your brand. So it always goes back to number one again, understanding your audience and knowing who you are trying to target and why you're trying to target them. So if you are, for example, I'm going to switch the screen quickly. Sorry, a second. Yeah. Sorry, are we still on? Okay. So if you look at a brand like Yoko, right? Yoko completely understands their target market, and they, for example, they will have. Sorry, my internet is slow. So a lot of their things are either either visually driven or text driven. So this one is definitely a visual driven thing. And then what they've done is they've researched keywords and hashtags that'll reach an audience that makes sense to them. So for example, if you're a small business owner, you will go and search the hashtag small business owner, and you will find this on top of the results. And the same with all these other hashtags. Um, sorry, I've got too many tabs open. So give me a second. Sorry, please bear with me. Okay, we're back. Okay, so that just brings it back to that other thing. Be clear and consistent in your messaging. So understand your audience again. So when you are trying to target people, you need to know what they want to read or what they want to consume, and you need to get your branding message across at all times. But at the same time, you don't want to oversell your product. And the thing with social media is that it's a recreational activity generally. So if somebody's going through their feed and they see somebody trying to properly sell something to them, generally people will skip past it or even block you. But then also you need to strike that balance of trying not to undersell. So if your post is super vague and you're not actually covering any proper content about what you're trying to get going, again, your post will just be obsolete. And then again, if I go back to Yoko's go back to Yoko's page, they are always consistently on brand. So for example, they have very they sorry, I'm losing my words here. They showcase a lot of small businesses, and they really help with exposure of their businesses, but at the same time they are still selling their own product. So what they do as Yoko is that they separated themselves from the pack when they offered easy payment solutions. So as a small business, generally, if you go into a bank, they would have you hire equipment and then they make you pay a certain amount. But whereas Yoko, they have their own card machine that you buy from them, and you pay once off, you don't pay monthly. That was their reach, and immediately what happened is that smaller businesses started buying into it. And what they've done with their platform is that they've then reciprocated that by showcasing those businesses that helped them, right? So visualize your audience engaging with your brand. As a consumer of social media, I'm sure most of us are on at least one type of social media. You need to figure out what you would like to see as a consumer. So if you're creating content and you're seeing that, okay, well, this is not actually going to appeal to me, that's a very important check to make. Just understand that who you're reaching is somebody like yourself, and if it doesn't make sense to you, it won't make sense to them. Another important thing is to always check your posts, or ask someone else to check, and then if they didn't check properly, ask somebody else to check again. There's nothing worse than having typos and having bad grammar in your posts. That'll immediately put a lot of people off. I know I've unfollowed a lot of accounts because of bad grammar and bad spelling. It's just it irks me. It irks me to the max. So you have time, and as I mentioned before at the beginning, you're building what people see before they see you. So if you took the time to make spelling errors, you are showing that you are not really paying attention to what you're doing, and it really translates when the consumer is wanting to interact with your brand. Okay, and then you need to make use of targeting and paid ads if you want to grow quicker or if you want to gain a larger audience. So I'm going to just quickly go through how to target and is the second screen up. How to target and do a paid ad. Right. So this is one of the pages that I'm admin on Facebook. It's called Kalusa. It's a Scala Students Association, Scala University Students Association. So it's basically it is what it says, a student-based page that involves itself in a lot of community work. So somebody posted this on the 17th of July, right? Now, if I want to get this to more people, or to a bigger audience, right? You just go your boost post. This only works with business pages. Okay, so you'll get a lot of options, and one of the things that you need to be careful about is just clicking boost immediately, because you have many options that you can use, and you need to be specific in what you want to achieve with your boost. So if you want comments and likes and reactions, this is the way to do that. A website clicks, connect and chat with potential customers. So we're going to go with get more people to react, comment, and share. Okay. So this you can choose what you want the call of action to be. Generally, to be learn more, it'll take you to your website. If you're selling, shop now, get a job. Now this is the audience is the targeting part that I was talking about earlier. Now, generally they have what they think your target audience is over there, but you can then either edit that part or you can create a new audience. So we're going to create a new audience, and then we'll name it, let's call it, let's just not be basic about this, right? Now, for this particular post, it's a community-driven post, and so it's very specifically for that particular community. Now, I for this particular thing, I want to target. I'm not gonna just focus on the content itself. Let's just say it's a post for women, right? I want to target women. Now, specifically, I want to target women between the ages of 25 and 35. Yes, over there, right? Because my message is particularly aimed at women between the ages of 25 to 35. You'll see here as you keep going that your audience, you will see whether how broad and how specific your targeting will be once you continue with the options given. So this one, I want to target people. So let's just say that this post is obviously not. They say it's focused on pine. Typos. Okay. Yeah, Pinelands in the Western Cape. So now I'm targeting women between the age of 25 and 35 in Pinelands. So you see it's super specific. All right. So generally what will happen is that you won't reach as many people as you'd like to, but you're reaching the exact people that you are trying to reach. Then if you want to go in more specific, you go and you say, okay, so this post, let's say it's about running in Pinelands. Okay, so now I want to add people that like running, see athletics, fitness, perhaps physical fitness, and then from there the algorithms will help you. So marathons, let's go half marathon. So as you can see, you can go more and more specific, and as you go more and more specific, your targeting narrows, and then you are reaching the exact people you want. On the other hand, you can go broad and just say, I want to target everyone between the ages of 15 and 65 plus in South Africa. You see your potential number is now 22,000 versus the 1,000 that it was before. This dilutes, and then people that will come to your page are not necessarily people that you want to be on your page. So there's not necessarily people that are buying your product or wanting to use you as a service. Whereas even though there are fewer people in the previous target, you are definitely getting people that are interested in what you are selling or what you are providing. If you're looking for quantity of likes and engagement, generally the wider targets are for that, but it's not properly targeted. So it's just people look at how many people are like your particular brand, and they don't check who it is. So if you, unfortunately, in this day and age, numbers of followers is what gets people to take you seriously, and that's why people like to certain things. Then you get to choose what your budget is. So you can have daily budgets, or you can have weekly budgets, whatever. But you obviously work out what your budget is, and then from there. So that's just a broad overlook on what targeting is. And if you want to get more into it, we can chat about it after. But that's a very time-consuming subject. But that's just a very, very broad overview of what targeting is on Facebook. Okay. Okay, so supplementary platforms. A lot of people have asked me about whether a website is still important in this day and age. And there's two answers I've got for that. One is, what is your brand about? Is your brand able to exist without having any other kind of information, such as blogs or team news or anything along those lines? Or is it something that is very information driven? Like, for example, I'm going back. Right. Like Amazi, for example. Amazi Beauty, they have a very good social media presence, but at the same time, their website is very important as a personal brand. When I say personal brand, I mean personal in terms of the business and their particular brand colors, one, and just their message, right? So they have more control over what they put up and how people see what they offer. Now, things are important for this type of brand. But if you, for example, are selling something that you can have on Facebook or whatever, it's not always the most important thing to do. But what this is also lacking, I've noticed, is the fourth, right? So what you can do socials. Am I freezing?
Yeah.
Is it better?
Can you just repeat that last line?
Okay. I was saying, what was I saying?
About what's
a website
lacking.
is important for certain things, such as, sorry, how much? Oh, okay, I was lacking another thing. So with regards to social media, right? They've got a great website, but I can't see here where their social media presence is. So actually, no, I didn't realize this. So this is the live Instagram feed. But if you're going to go into the top here, generally what you'd like to see is you you're on the site, you can see, okay, they got a Facebook page, and you click on the Facebook page, and then the Facebook page might take you back to the website, and then the website might take you to the Instagram thing, and the Instagram thing might take you back to the website. So that's what I mean by back and forth, where you can use your site to then expose your audience to a wider variety of socials that you're on. So I feel like that could be important if you are on more than one type of social media as a brand. Okay. Yeah, so I think I've just covered that. So that's what I meant by central hub for all your other online platforms. Okay, so brand alignment. This is something that I discussed with Stacey and Inga the other day, and Rivka. I'm going to go back to Amazi, to their Instagram page. So if you look at what they are doing, what they offer, right? They are very women empowerment driven. They are beauty and nail and beauty bars. They focus a lot on women, and they focus a lot on telling women's stories. So if you look at who they are following, my internet allows, right? If you can see, if you see who they're following, you'll notice that a lot of what they're following, or all of what they're following, connects with their brand and where they and what they are about and what they're doing, right? There's no silly accounts. There's no I don't want to pick on the Kardashians, but there's no type of plasticky type images. There's things that connect with their brands: Beauty Revolution, Native Child. I mean, I see they're not even following it. So a lot of people do go and check who you're aligning yourself with if they want to be connected with your brand, because they want to know that you're genuine and that what you're saying and what you're doing is what you're saying and what you're doing actually makes sense to what your brand is about. Okay, so then what they also do, I haven't seen it in a while though, but if there's something that somebody else posts that makes sense to their brand and to it will get their followers to interact, they would add it to the story and repost. That also helps with when you share somebody else's post, it endears them to you, and it also it also then gets them to notice you and then to see what you're about. Generally afterwards they will then share some of your posts to their pages and so on. That's how you help each other to grow. Yeah. And then lastly, I'm just going to focus on follower engagement. So right at the beginning, when you're deciding what social media platforms to use, figure out what type of engagement and what level of engagement you're going to be given, right? So if you are the type to reply to every message and to every post, then Twitter is a decent platform. For example, if you don't want to comment on everything, then Facebook is a decent thing where you can just like the post. Instagram is also in a similar thing to Facebook, where with engagement, in that you can either comment on reply to their comments or just like their comments. But if you decide that you're going to be the type of company or the type of brand to respond to people, you need to be consistent in that. So you need to respond, one, in a timely fashion, and two, you need to engage consistently with everybody. So if you pick and choose who you're going to engage with, it leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, and a lot of times you'll see that people will see that you commented on somebody else's post, and then they will complain about it, and then that kind of gives you a bad name after. What a tip that I've used myself is, if you do find that you with a brand, when I was working with web tickets at the time, if you respond publicly, try to respond with a general type of message. And if you find that it's a back and forth type engagement, it can go south quickly. So from that point, you just say, please send me a DM with the info so we can follow up. What that's doing is buying you time to figure out what the problem is firstly, and also then takes that exchange out of the public eye. Even if it ends up being a good outcome, it could be really, really detrimental to you, to your brand, if you find that people are slandering you and then they end up getting their friends onto it, and then your ratings start going down. So it's important to keep a consistent public image. Yeah, I think that's pretty much a brief overview of what I do as a social media practitioner, online media practitioner. But also just for you as personally, I think I'm not sure if I've covered everything that you were expecting at the beginning, but please contact me if you do want to chat further. I'm currently rebranding at the moment, so the social dynamic website and Facebook is down at the moment, but my email is still up, and you can just contact me on there and on Instagram and Twitter. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it from my side. I think I'm going to open for any questions.
Yeah, Josh, I have a question. How important do you think hashtags are?
Very important. I think hashtags drives a lot of engagement, because I'm sure you've clicked on a hashtag and just found a whole lot of different posts that obviously are related to that hashtag. So it's important to have hashtags that make sense to your brand. But strategically, if you're trying to get your message out there quickly, jump onto a trending topic. So sometimes there's, let's say, it's a bad example, but let's say Donald Trump is trending, and you've got something that you want to put up, and at the bottom of your post you have all your own hashtags, but in there somewhere you have Donald Trump. What will happen is that someone that clicks on Donald Trump will see your post in the hashtag list.
Okay.
But it's the same
Josh?
with keywords. So, sorry. It's the same with keywords too.
Okay.
Because are discoverable with keywords. So when you're drafting your caption, make sure that you use very strategic words that align with your brand and make sense to your brand, because you are discoverable with keywords that are not actually hashtags too.
Okay, cool. Joanne?
No, Josh answered it toward the end of that sentence, because I was about to ask if keywords and hashtags go hand in hand, and he answered it. So cool.
Cool.
I have a question. It's from Inga. Just a question. So on the point of keywords and hashtags, I mean, is there a site you go to make sure that you're using the right keywords based on like your company or your brand, or like how do you know that you're using the strongest keywords?
Generally, the way that I do it is I go to pages that are similar to the brand that I'm representing, and basically just stealing them from there. Honestly, it's when you're generally there are certain overlapping qualities that you have with certain brands, and then that could also go for other things. So there are sites online that you can find. You can even buy keywords and so on, but that's more like that's cheating a bit. A lot of these things are being slowed down by Instagram, especially. Like for example, there's a lot of robot accounts on on Instagram and those type of buying of keywords, etc. They're starting to slow down with that. But there are sites that you can visit. I think you can just Google it.
Okay.
Finding keywords, for example.
Okay.
But generally, I think the best method is to go to pages that align with your brand, see whether those things are actually working, and then just take it from there. And then you will by yourself also figure out what makes sense in your own mind.
Okay.
And that's what if I just go
awesome.
back to what Yoko does. Well, I'm on the Yoko page now. Yeah. So they, for all their posts, right? They'll have the caption, and then in the most of the posts. Now, when I'm looking for it, it's not there.
I don't think it's displaying it, Josh, because we still see your thank you page.
Oh.
Or I still see your thank you page.
Yeah, so thank you.
No, all of us, yeah.
Now?
Yes.
Oh, you're on Yoko.
Yep.
Okay, so what they do is, so they'll have the caption, and then in the comment section, then they'll have a whole lot of hashtags. What other people do sometimes is have like ... but then all the hashtags at the bottom in the same post. But yeah, I mean, if you look here, lockdown level 3, that's a trending topic. So if you, well, it was at that time. So if you were to go into it, discovering, I mean, look at all these other things, right? So a lot of people were clicking on that hashtag at the time, so that got them more eyes.
That's so clever. And then just a question, Josh, on what you said around when you're captioning an image, some people go ... and then they'll have their hashtags. Whereas on the example for Yoko, they went at the end of the caption hashtag and then they created a new comment.
Yeah.
Is that just, what's the method in that sort of approach? Or why that sort of approach?
It's the same thing, really. I think it's just for statistics. So if so I'm taking you back to Yoko again. Are we there?
Yep.
No, are we there on Yoko? So, on your cell phone is different, right? So when you're scrolling, you sometimes don't see the comments. So for Yoko, what they like to do is they have that there. But for it's exactly the same thing for the ... at the bottom. Is just whatever the aesthetic you prefer. But it's got the same that has the same, what's the word?
Outcome.
Effect. Same effect.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Josh.
No other questions?
Yeah, I think someone asked about the grammar, if there were any other sites other than Grammarly to check your grammar if you do find yourself doubting. And if you don't have access to someone to check. Is there any other sites? I'm particularly interested in that question as well.
Yeah, I generally use Grammarly on my browser, but when I'm composing, I like to use just a normal word processor, just because first that's what I'm used to in terms of copywriting, but also the you, for example, and then you can just take it over from there. But Grammarly is a decent online platform for that. I'm not aware of any others.
I have another question. On that point around how you compose your posts, right? So I feel like I'm doing something completely wrong when I'm posting and I'm only using my cell phone for Instagram. And then when writing these long captions, I'm like, it's way too long to like check on my phone. So how are people actually curating these long captions on their phone? Am I supposed to be using another tool?
So can you just explain that again? I lost you in the middle of the connection.
Yeah, no problem. So, you know, when you're looking at Instagram and some amazing site has this massive caption underneath it, and you're like, how did they manage to double check language and spelling on such a long caption if they were just doing that from their cell phone? Because that's what I've been doing. I've literally only been using my cell phone to post images, but now I'm questioning, like, if I need to write a longer caption, surely there's a better way of doing that. Isn't there like a website tool that would allow me to capture these longer captions and then to do the Grammarly check that would make it more streamlined, if I'm making any sense, because I'm only using my phone.
So on a desktop or laptop, you can use Hootsuite. It's HOOTSUITE.
Okay.
They have you can post directly to Instagram from there, and to every other social media platform. That also allows you to schedule posts on from all platforms on one page. I mean, you can do that. You can't actually schedule posts on Instagram specifically myself. I'm not sure if they've added that yet, but as last I checked, you can't. You can do it on Facebook, but you can't do it on Twitter either. So with Hootsuite, you can schedule everything for like months in advance.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Josh, have you used Planoli or later.com?
I can't hear you. Sorry, please repeat.
Have you used Planoli or later.com?
No, I think Hootsuite is my platform of choice when it comes to those things.
Okay. Yeah, because I tried to schedule up the post for Friday, and I did it like last week Sunday with later, and then it just didn't schedule, and so it was meant to go at like at 9 o'clock, and then like 10 to 12 I had to physically do it myself, manually do it myself. So I was like super frustrated. So maybe I should move over to Hootsuite then.
Yeah, I definitely recommend Hootsuite. I used them when I was working with web tickets, and I would schedule posts for like 2-3 months in advance.
Okay.
And then just basically on that also, it's important to have your schedule post, but at the same time, you can also be reactionary in between. So when you do schedule posts, it allows you more time to be reactionary. When I say that, I'm talking about like if, for example, the president switches to level 24 lockdown, whatever. It's ridiculous, but say for example that happens, then you are able to react immediately to that without disturbing your schedule process.
There's another question in the chat box from Shell about what are your thoughts on long captions? Is there a general feeling on social media for keeping people's attention? At what point do you lose them?
So again, that goes back to understanding your audience and what your brand is. As people in this time, we have got very low attention spans. Excuse me. And I think we like quick and easy. So if it's something superficial or something that's very simple, then stick with simple keywords and short sentences or whatever. But you do have products and services that do require a longer and more thoughtful caption. So I think it's just play it by ear and take it as the post arrives to you. But generally, I do agree. We do have the people on the internet generally have shorter attention span. So if you're going general, then keep it quick, keep it punchy. Like have a pretty picture, have a few words, and then make people like it.
Cool. Um, yeah, I think it goes back down to messaging also, like making sure that the text is appropriate to your brand too.
Mm.
And the language that you're using, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, nobody likes to be spoken to like they're a 15-year-old kid. So don't do that on social media. Don't hi guys and all the time and yo, this thing is lit when you are trying to sell a intellectual book, for example. Just like understand your audience and know how to come across, because text is obviously something that's there for a long time. Whereas if you're speaking, sorry. Whereas if you are speaking, then it's easily forgotten. But in terms of text and tone, stay on brand. Be consistent with your brand.
Yeah, I think the other thing is, like future female, they're so good at using the right language for their target market, and like they use content obviously that's completely relatable and like starts a conversation. So I think from a skills exchange point of view, we're trying to figure out how the language that we should be using in order to get engagements up. So I guess my next question is, how do you kind of like navigate what that language is?
Can you just repeat the last part? Last year engagement.
I say at Skills Exchange, we kind of like trying to increase engagements with like comments and shares and all that kind of thing. So like, how do you kind of navigate what that language is?
You say so I lost you again, but I think I got it. Do you say how do you navigate what language to use when you're trying to?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, it depends on what you're trying to do. I think something I've always said to people is that you know more than you actually think, right? So you know what you want to engage with, and you know what your peers and your audience wants to engage with. So don't overthink things. Don't try to be fancy when you're not supposed to be, and don't try to be super dumb when you can be a bit more intellectual. I think I'm always going to go back to point number one is understanding your audience and knowing that don't patronize them, but at the same time don't overestimate them also.
Yeah.
So the thing about social media is that it feels like as we are moving forward, people are getting more and more selfish with their likes and engagement. So it feels like people are paying for each like that they give, and they're being very selective with what they are consuming and what they are interacting with. And that also goes to your audience, to people not understanding the audience. I'm going to show you something from Bic that can you see that?
Hold on, I'm still looking at the chat box. Yeah. Yes, I actually used that for a media a media assignment last year at university. That exact advert.
Yeah. So they clearly didn't understand their target audience, because a pen's target audience is everybody, right? Everybody writes. So they've just completely alienated half of their client base by doing something completely stupid. And then if you look at this one, did that come up? No. This is such a simple little advert from Walmart, right? People like ice cream. People are getting engaged because people like to be proved right about everything. So what they're doing now is like, okay, well, like versus share. So like if you like the comment, like if you like this, share if you like this. All that's happening there is that they're getting all the engagement, regardless of what people like or what they don't like.
Yeah.
So that's where a lot of strategy comes in also, because me as a consumer would be like, see, I shared this big star bar, whatever it's called, is better. So that means that I'm better because I like this. Somebody else would like, say, chocolate tacos is better. But what Walmart's getting is all the engagement.
Yeah.
So that's understanding it.
It's almost like using visuals to pose a question, like literally, and then get engagement.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's all for me. Anybody else? Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Rochelle says she likes to use the use of polls to drive engagement, which is cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if there's no further questions, Josh, I think we can wrap it up.
Cool. Looks like my internet connection is starting to go haywire as well. So.
Okay.
Great time to wrap up.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Josh, for today. Really appreciate it. Can you share that screen again with your contacts, just quickly, in case anybody wants to get in touch with you? I will also be uploading this recording to our YouTube channel that is actually live and kicking right now. Yeah, we only have one video, but we will have another soon. This one especially. And if you guys have any other further questions at a later point, feel free to contact either myself or Josh or Inga, who is also here. But yeah, thanks for coming today, guys, and let's stay in touch.